And then we can all okay it. And let's start standing. And we're going to start with some basic Surya Namaskar. So one of the things that's nice about that is you can turn off your mind. Some people don't like Surya Namaskar warm-up because it's repetitive, but there is an aspect of the repetition that helps you stop thinking. And that's sort of the point of it, cessation of the chatter of the mind. Let's exhale to lower the arms. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, fold forward, drop your head. Inhale, come to fingertips, look slightly forward. And exhale, float back, chaturanga, still looking slightly forward. Inhale, the chin goes up, but the gaze can go down the nose. And exhale, downward dog. Usually you'll wind up looking between your shins. But if you have issues with your hasta activation, try to look a little more toward your belly. Help draw the belly in. Find gravity. Take 2 more breaths. And let's focus on squeezing the arms toward one another. Because when you go to handstand, that's what you have to do. Every downward dog is prepping you for that, but sometimes we get a bit lazy. After your exhale, let's stepward jump forward. Inhale at the top. Exhale to fold. Rise up. Inhale. Arms by our sides. Exhale. And again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Your arms can really take any path. Inhale, halfway up. Stepward jump, chaturanga, exhale. I'm remuting all of you. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Okay, good. Because if y'all aren't muted, then sometimes the screen will shift over to whoever's house has audio. So let's press into the inner edge of our hand and still practice pushing the floor away and getting the arms straight. So the elbows are not bent out to the side. Take 1 more breath here. Keep pushing the floor away from you. That's going to create more space for when you jump forward. After your exhale, jump forward. Inhale at the top. Exhale, fold. Rise up. Inhale. Arms down, Samastitihi. Look straight forward. Exhale. Inhale. Reach up. Exhale. This is Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Chaturanga Dandasana. Exhale. Inhale, upward facing. And exhale, downward facing. So as we're here, I'll just talk about that whole jumping forward business. So you can obviously see how if your arms are straighter and you push the floor away, you have more space to jump. Jumping into a spot where your feet are at the top of your mat is essentially practice for jumping through later when you have to bring your butt to the top of your mat. So the more space we can create now, the easier time we have throughout the whole practice. Okay, after your exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale at the top. Exhale, fold. Rise up, inhale. Samastitihi, exhale into Surya Namaskar V. Bend the knees, reach up. Utthita. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, chest forward, breathe. Exhale, jump it back. Bend the elbows. Inhale, chest is lifting, we expand. Exhale, downward dog. Right foot forward, warrior one. Again, inhale, expand. Exhale, chaturanga, just keep the elbows close to the ribs. Inhale, expand. Downward dog, exhale. Left foot forward, warrior one. Inhale. Exhale for chaturanga. Roll the shoulders back. I like to use the elbows to nudge the ribs forward. And downward dog, exhale. We'll stay here for a few breaths. Sort of resting and letting the breath return to normal. But of course, it's not really a rest. We're trying to push the floor away, keep the arms straight. And you'll notice that that is also helpful when you step one foot forward. If your arms are not pushing the ground away, your foot will not land all the way between your hands. So in essence, if handstand is one of your goals, you need to work these Surya Namaskars with a lot of attention to the strength of your arms and your upper back and your shoulders and your hands. Okay, after the exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale at the top. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees. Utthita, inhale. Samastiti, exhale. And again, bend the knees. Inhale. Exhale to fold. Halfway up, inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. Right foot between the hands. Do not lift that leg up before you step forward. Inhale. Hands to the floor, chaturanga, exhale. 2 feet are on the floor. Upward facing, 2 feet are on the floor. Downward facing, 2 feet are on the floor. Left foot between the hands. Inhale, reach up. Exhale for chaturanga. Good, that's better. Just keep doing it. I know you don't like to, but I'm calling you out so that over time you get used to it. So we'll meet in downward dog. I'm going to close some windows because of course there's a leaf blower. Can we ever have a day of peace where people don't need leaves blown around? So when I call you out on something like lifting your leg before you step forward, it's just a habit and it's very fixable. All right, after the exhale, let's step or jump forward. Inhale, halfway. Fold, exhale. Bend into the knees. Inhale, Vasisthasana. And straighten the legs. Exhale. We'll do one more Surya Namaskar. Inhale to lift the arms. Exhale to drop the head and shoulders. Inhale, extend away from your hips. Exhale to jump it back, lower down. So pay attention to your feet as you cycle through this vinyasa. Your left heel will lift as you step your right foot forward, and then you'll just swivel the heel down and return it to the floor. We'll cycle through to the other side. If you can't roll over your toes, going 1 foot at a time is no problem. And for this left leg, when you step forward, the right heel will pop up, so the lunge for a sec, and then just spin the heel down for a warrior. And we'll meet in downward dog whenever your breath gets you there. So feel free to stay here, or let's shift our shoulders over our hands and just take a few little hops toward handstand. So you'd step 1 foot in a little closer, and then you'll let your leg, whichever one you want to kick with, lift up. But you'll notice that you have to focus on your arms, even though your legs are being fancy. Are your arms staying straight? And then we'll just meet in downward dog. I don't want us to get too tired with that now or develop any wrist pain, because it's still very early. We've got quite the agenda. Okay, after your exhale, just jump it forward. Inhale, straight legs. Fold, exhale. Bend the knees. Inhale, arms up. And straight legs, Samasthiti, look straight forward. Hands to the hips, just heel toe the feet apart. Chest up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Slide the hands under the feet. We're going to skip padangusthasana and go right into Hastasana. Toes by wrists, inhale. And exhale to fold. I would shake out my head here. If you have a tight upper back, you might also need to do that. So if you roll your shoulders away from your ears and shake out your head at the same time, you'll have a moment of relief from all that stress that we carry there. Okay, let's come halfway up so the arms are straight. Release your hands to your hips, exhale, and rise up the rest of the way. Inhale, bring the feet together again. Let's step the right foot back. We'll head into triangle. So we step the right foot back and then we pivot. Now we're facing the back edge of the mat. Reach out and lower the hand to a comfortable spot. We'll stay here for 5 breaths. And if you are holding your big toe, there's this feeling of lift. But your toe is very stubborn and it's pushing down. So the mudra is quite a seal. It's quite a strong grip there. That's going to be handy later when we take it up to Vasisthasana, the side plank situation. Next inhale, let's rise up. Pivot on the feet. Exhale. Inhale again to reach out and lower the hand down. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's rise up. We're going to turn to face that right leg again. Scoot your feet a little further apart and just bend the knee for warrior 2. And we're just going to stay in warrior 2 momentarily. We'll engage the triceps here. We'll gaze over that right middle finger. And we'll try to lift the low belly up. Pretend you have a zipper here going from your pubic bone to your belly button. Straighten the right leg, pivot around over to the other side. You might need to check in that you have a heel to arch alignment, foot to foot. And it may seem that this is completely unrelated to handstand, but you could be doing this pose with your arms a bit limp, or you could be doing this pose where you hug your arm muscles to your arm bones. I would suggest the latter if handstand is on your agenda for this decade. Okay, let's pivot around. We're going to scoot the feet a little bit closer together and just turn for twisted triangle. So that right foot will now be in front of the right hip. Left foot behind the left hip. Reach out and down. Stay for 5 breaths. Wherever you put your left hand is fine, but I want you to be able to feel weight on the inside of your hand. If you've chosen to put your hand on the pinky toe side of your foot, that's a little bit harder. You have to get your left shoulder to go further over to the right. Okay, let's unravel. Keep the legs straight as you rise up. Let's pivot around to the other side. Now we have a heel to heel alignment. Check that that's true for you. Reach out and down. I usually use my left hand to help set my hips, and then when I feel like I can maintain it with leg strength, then left hand to go up. That's 2. 3, 4, engage your quads, and 5. Let's unravel, we'll rise up, we'll face that long edge of the mat again, make the feet wider again, this time warrior 2, right leg bends, into Padangusthasana, variation number 1. Just scoot back a bit. We're going to put that right hand, pinky toe side of the foot, left arm over the ear. You could be on fingertips or a block if the floor feels like it's too far away. Gaze at that left hand, either the palm or the fingers. Oh, we have a carry. And let's rise up and we'll shift over to the other side. Bend into the knee. Lower that left hand, reach the right arm out. Ideally, if you change your gaze from your right hand to the ceiling above you, above your face, ideally your right arm is not blocking your view because the right ribs are moving back. You might have to come up higher on your left hand to make that happen, but that would be ideal. Okay, let's rise up. We'll turn the left toes to face the same way as the right. Hands to hips. Inhale. And exhale to fold for Prasara to A. Hands come between the feet. Inhale there. Legs stay straight and we fold head down. And this carry, do whatever you need to warm up. Maybe sun salutes, maybe jumping jacks, run around your house. For those of you with your hands flat on the ground, make sure your weight is not hanging out in your heels. Bring the weight slightly forward so that you can get your heels, knees, and hips all in a straight vertical line. Okay, let's straighten the arms. Inhale. Just walk the hands to the right side. We'll come into Asana, left knee down. Hands to the right knee. So for Carol's upper back, let's turn this into Visvamitrasana arms. We're going to go right arm on top. So you could whip them around and then cross your forearms and palms, or you can slowly give yourself a hug and walk your fingers toward your shoulder blades, and then bring it into the full wrap. Elbows up, thumbs away from your face, and shoulders down. If you keep creeping your shoulders up to your ears, you're not going to get the relief that you might need. So we're going hips down, elbows up. We'll just take one more breath. Okay, let's release the grip. Hands to the big toe side of the foot. Back knee up, back heel down. So our legs will make a warrior 2 shape. You can adjust the feet as you need. Let's dip our right shoulder lower and wrap underneath the leg to a bind. So that left arm will come behind, the right arm goes under, and we'll try to hold the left wrist with the right hand or thereabouts. Some of it requires a lot of leaning back. Also, one of the limiting factors that I see is folks will try to bind with their body up here. So there's this big gap between my torso and my thigh. That means that my arm can't get under. So before you actually try to bind, you have to get your shoulder very low toward the ground. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. We're just going to pivot around to the other side for koundinyasana. You're going to pivot. I'm going to step my feet so that I can still see on the computer. So first, we just get used to being here. If you have like a 10-minute practice day, sun salutes and anjanes and like a headstand would be good. Okay, let's go for bakasana arms, left arm on top. If you can't quite get palm to palm, you might want to interlace your fingers, because then your hands will kind of help get each other higher. And you can turn it into any degree of back bend. Just try to keep your thumbs away from your face. The tighter your shoulders are, the harder that's going to be. But we just have to face reality. It is what it is. Two more breaths. Hips down, elbows up. Okay. We'll unwind our hands. Hands come to the big toe side of the foot. Back knee up, back heel down. So adjust your feet here in a warrior two stance. And then start to think about your strategy for your bind. You got to get that bottom arm situated first. So shoulder low, left arm comes under. Then the right arm can come around. And as you feel ready, you'll start to open up toward the ceiling. And the more you open up, the more you feed your right arm into your left hand. Later, we'll be doing a Tittibhasana. This is a great prep for that because of the relationship between your shoulder and your inner knee. One more breath. Okay, and we'll slowly rise up. And let's face the long edge of the mat again for Prasarita C. Arms out for an inhale. Interlace behind your back. Exhale. Straighten your arms, chest up, inhale. Throat is open and we fold. And even if you're dropping your head and it touches the floor, the throat stays open. On each inhale, think about getting your hands further away from your back. And then each exhale, gravity can take you down. So first there's the out, and then there's the down. You can't really just have the down, it doesn't work. One more breath here. Okay, let's rise up for an inhale, and we'll pivot to face that right leg for Rita, Visvamitrasana. Thank you. All tongue tied. Right leg bends. Let's hook our left arm outside of the right thigh. Your choice if your back heel is up. Your choice if you stay in prayer or bind underneath your leg. And just like our previous bind, you got to work that bottom arm first. So I like to use my right hand on my left forearm to give a tiny little nudge. And it's quite a small distance that the left arm has to go. It's just very difficult for the shoulder. But your hands will meet eventually near your left hip. Take one more breath. And we'll unravel ourselves, find our way to koundinyasana, and then into hanumanasana. You can walk your right leg forward or your left leg back. You can have props underneath your right thigh. You can have your back toes tucked or untucked. So lately, I've been able to get my hips low enough that I can get my hands off the floor without a prop. But the only way that I can do it without falling over is to really press this right calf down into the floor. So if you're at that point, just pay attention to that right leg as your anchor so that you don't fall. Think of like, same as you'd have to do in like a king pigeon, you have to squeeze so you don't fall. Now you have to push down so you don't fall. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Let's just vinyasa. It's been a while since we've done that. We'll meet in downward dog for a moment. This is really buying me time because I have to wipe sweat off because it's disgusting to be in this state. It's like dripping in every way. Okay. Let's bring our left foot forward. Utthita, Visvamitrasana. So you could rise up a lot, but eventually you will have to have your torso quite low to your thigh. The flesh of the thigh has to roll in so that you can get your arm well hooked in a way that it stays there. Because what good is a hook if it slides out? So decide if you're binding or not. And remember, in twisted triangle, I said, get the inside of your hand down on the ground. And that made you get your shoulder further over. So your right shoulder further over to the left. That's going to help you here with the bind. The right shoulder moves to the left so that you can stack your shoulders on the outside of your left thigh, essentially. Okay, let's unravel ourselves. Koundinyasana into Visvamitrasana. And on this side, I do not get all the way down to a point where I don't need my hands anymore. So I'm just going to wait maybe another 5 years, maybe forever, but it should feel pretty good. If your stretch is not feeling good and you're just kind of hoping I get us out of here quickly and then we get to move on, maybe you've gone too far. Okay. So we'll slowly get out of there and we'll vinyasa again. We'll meet in downward dog. So we've been dealing with hips and legs a lot lately. Let's go back to the attention of straight arms, hands pressing down. And after your exhale, jump your feet to your hands. Inhale at the top, exhale to fold, and somehow stand up. You can roll up or reverse lunge. It really does not matter. Okay, so we're going to do this two ways. For this first way, let's bend our right leg, and we're going to hold the big toe with the right knee out to the side a little bit. And just see how easy it is to get that grip. No problem. Now switch your elbow to the outside of your knee. It's a little bit more of a problem. Now we're tempted to lean forward or back, or we're tempted to bend the standing legs. We have to be more cognizant of all those things. Now start to press your leg out toward whatever your straight is. And if you're feeling good, then start to fold forward so you bring your head toward your right shin bone. Next inhale, we'll just lift the head. Let's interlace the fingers underneath the hamstring. Point the toes. Now we just have our leg out there somewhere where we're holding it with our arms a little bit. We roll the shoulders back so that it's not really our arm strength, it's more like our upper back. Very slowly slip the hands away. Keep your leg there as best you can, hands to hips. Point the toes. Good, and then let the leg come down. Shake it out. So really your standing leg right now should be a little fatigued. That right leg was pretty, but the left leg was working. Okay, side two. So left toe grip, left big toe grip. First with your arm inside the knee, just so that you see the connection is possible, it's not so bad. Your shoulders are over your hips, your right leg is straight. Now switch it so the arm is outside the knee, which is essentially making your hips square. So we keep our grip very stable and strong. We extend out with the ball of that left foot. And that ball of foot keeps reaching out even if we decide to fold over the leg and bring the head in the direction of the shin, maybe even all the way to the shin. That is a lot of abdominal strength to stay there. Next inhale, we'll rise up. We'll change the grip, so we hold under the leg and roll the shoulders back. So your shoulder girdle is supporting you here. Your arms are not having to be superwoman arms. lift the hands away. Your right leg being straight is going to help you keep that left leg up. And let's release the foot. Shake it out. Oh my God, it's so hard. I was going to have us do it another way. I'm tired and I don't want to, but I said we were gonna, so we have to. Okay, so the other way is we reach our arm out and we bring our leg up to meet it. So think about your standing leg as you lift the right leg. You wind up in the same place. It's just a matter of having your standing leg root through the floor. And then again, fold if you want. Great practice for the curling actions that come in all of those primary series jump through. And let's lift the head. This time we'll just point the toes from here, right hand to hip. And let it go. Good, shake it out. Shaking it out is not in the series, but how I stay sane. Wipe the sweat off your hands, left arm out, and your two fingers are gonna catch the inside of your big toe. Your right foot pressing through the floor is going to help you get that leg up. Hold if you want. You could also put your foot on your countertop and just practice the folding aspect without having to deal with keeping the leg up on its own. Bring the head up if you fold it. We'll point the toes, left hand to the hip. Normally you'd stay for 5 breaths, but let's get rid of that. Shake it out. Okay, we'll come to the top of the mat again if you're not there. Wipe the sweat one more time. Okay. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Step or jump back. Better. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Okay, so we'll basically do that inside plank, but to save our wrists, today we're going to do it on the forearms. So let's come to the knees. Then come to the elbows. Have your elbows shoulder width, but bring your thumbs to touch. So your forearms are not parallel at the moment. They're making a little V shape. It's just going to be easier on your shoulders. Let's lift the knees and shift to the right forearm. Left arm up. And we're going to do this 2 different ways also. Let's bend that left knee. Either hold the knee and pull it in toward your armpit, or reach for your big toe and extend the leg up. And you'll notice how much you have to work to push your hips up so that the leg can go up. Now let's get out of there. We'll just go to the other side because we're going to be doing this twice. We don't have to stay very long. Now we're on the left forearm. We'll bring the right knee in to the armpit or hold your big toe and kick. And essentially that's the same stretch you've already done a few times, like your Hanuman, like the balance you did. Okay, let's get out of there. We'll come to our forearms again. We'll go back to side 1. This time we're going to keep the legs straight when we lift the leg up. Your right arm will be up, basically waiting for your left foot to join it, which is the same kind of way you did it, the round 2 of the standing balance. Good, and then let it go. Come through center, over to the other side. Get your hips up real high first, then your right arm up, and essentially your left edge of left foot pushing down is what's going to get your right leg up. Okay, let's get out of there. And let's come to down dog feet. So we'll make the forearms parallel and then walk the feet in. And we'll rest here for a few breaths. I'm going to wipe sweat and then rest. You know what the problem is, I think? When the leaf blowers came, I closed all my windows. I got to open these dang windows again. Oh, feels like core power up in here. Okay, so normally all that side plank stuff would be done with a straight arm, but I want to save our wrists because the next stuff we do has to have a straight arm. Okay, let's straighten the arms. And let's bring our right foot in front of the right hand. That's a really long, weird lunge. And just for kicks, let's lower the back heel. And we're going to airplane wing our arms out to the side. And while we're here, we're going to just emphasize getting the right shoulder under the knee. So the way to do that is get your chest low to the floor, but also I like to use my right thumb to roll the calf muscle in toward my ear as I sort of dive underneath the leg. Good. So from here, I'm going to walk myself back to the mat. From here, let's place the hands down. We're going to shift the side plank on the right arm and just keep this right leg bent on the arm for a moment. Left arm up. And if you want, start to straighten your right leg. You're going to feel your right hamstring pressing against your arm. That's what's going to prevent you from sliding. Good. Let's lower that hand, left hand down. Just step to downward dog. Later we'll work on some fancier exits, but not yet. Let's bring the left foot in front of the left knee. Lower the back heel. And work on left arm under, airplane wing arm. Miss Carrie, let's try to get your left arm a little higher, away from the ground. Yeah. Good. So we start to take this into a side plank formation. Left hand will come down, left foot will come up, and already that's quite a hard feat, balancing there and not sliding off. So if you decide to straighten your leg, just go slow enough so that you don't slide. Okay, and let's lower that right hand and just step to downward dog, rest for a moment. Okay, before we move on in that vein, we're going to continue with that foot. Let's rock forward to plank and lower down to our bellies. We're just going to take a little detour. I have to put this shirt down because it's just too sweaty up in here. Okay, let's make a little pillow with our forearms. And we'll keep our forehead on the pillow. Let's point our toes, walk the feet back a little bit further so you have some space by your hip flexors. Let's press the toenails into the floor, engage the quads. So you'll actually feel like your knees are off the ground. It's your thigh muscles that are pushing you to the floor. So keeping all that, push your pubic bone down. And let's go for 8 times. We're going to inhale our head, shoulders, and arms off the floor. And we're going to exhale to lower that down again. 7 more times. So it's like just the upper half of you is moving. Might be a little easier if you hold opposite elbow instead of having your elbows very wide. Okay. So whenever you've gotten to 8, let's shift the hands by our shoulders, curl into upward facing dog on an inhale, and downward dog for an exhale. Rest for a moment. Okay. So we'll do that same side plank variation, this time with a koundinyasana exit. So we'll bring our right foot forward of our right hand again, sort of centered between the hands actually. We'll get our shoulder under there, and let's again lift our right foot. Your choice if you extend the leg or not. And that left leg, the back leg, is very strong, helping you keep your hips up. Good. So our exit is going to be an arm balance. Left hand comes down. We pivot our back foot so our hips face square to the front and down. Bend your elbows like chaturanga. Shift your weight forward and lift your left leg off the ground. Then you can jump back to chaturanga from there. The weight has to shift far enough forward that your elbows are over your wrists. Otherwise, your back leg is going to be real heavy. It won't get off the ground. Okay, let's try the other side. Left foot forward, sort of centered-ish. Left shoulder dips low. Left foot comes up. And for me, this side is really hard. I think it's because of all the shoulder injuries I've had on the left shoulder, but your hips would also contribute to which side is hard for you. So when you're ready to come out of it, right hand comes down. The hands are on the same plane as down dog, no different location. Then bend the elbows, shift your weight forward. Your right elbow will be right by your ribs. And then you can chaturanga out of it. Okay. Come forward to plank and down onto the belly again. This time, your hands could do the same pillow thing if they don't have to. It doesn't really matter. Just stay comfortable in the upper part of you. We're just going to move the lower part. So let's, again, strengthen the legs the same way you did. And let's just lift the right leg off the ground. So you feel the left leg super strong pushing down. And then lower the right and lift the left. And now the right leg is super strong pushing down. And just alternate at your pace. Seems like it should be easy, but it's quite difficult. I always feel like my leg is about to touch the ceiling, but if I ever see a recap on a video, it's really like 2 inches up. Very humbling. Kind of like in a dance class, we think we're flying, and then we see a video and we're barely out off the ground. I went to LA for a class last night. It was so fun. And today I'm sore. Worth it. Okay, so the next time you're finishing up your left side, we'll just bring the hands again to our upward facing dog position. We'll use the feet to help propel us forward and exhale for downward dog. Rest there. Okay, so come onto your knees or whatever for a sec just so you can watch. I just want you to see how koundinyasana turns into chin stand. It's not that different. So we're going to do the same exact sequence that you've already done. This is my right leg in front. I lift my foot. I may or may not get my right leg straight. Then I'm going to put my left hand down. So the back foot, watch how it pushes me forward. See this business? Right here, my back heel is down and my elbows are too far back. So I have to push, back heel is higher, elbows are forward. Now I'll catch myself, start to lift the leg. Right now I'm looking toward my right foot. I'm going to change it. So I look down so that I can bring the leg up. So I have to change my gaze. Instead of looking to the side, look forward, bring the chin down, open the throat, and try to get that back leg higher. Give it a try. I'm going to watch and essentially yell. So think about the seam of your pants, the outer seam of that left leg. When you decide to go to chin stand, it's that outer seam that's going to lift your leg high enough that eventually that right leg can join it. Because if the left leg is not high enough, the right leg will not be able to join. So when you have tried that, we get to try the other side. That's the good news. There's a Christian song that I see on the radio or hear on the radio. It says, "It's not just good news, it's the best news ever." Side two. Let's bring the left foot forward. Get that left foot off the ground, right arm up. Decide if you're straightening the left leg. Stay for long enough time that you feel satisfied. Right hand down, koundinyasana, right leg up. And start lifting that right leg higher and higher. Okay. And we're going to meet in downward dog. We are going to try that again in a few minutes. We'll take some detours. We have to open the throat more, which is what I'm seeing. And it is hard to go from forward bending into some open throat position. It's a very different feeling. But we can do it. Okay, first let's go Vasisthasana. Knees down, arms forward. This time we're going to attempt to do TP hands. So the wrists will be up, the elbows will be up. Oh, Lordy. So I feel that a lot in the armpit. If it's too much for you, just put the palms down again. Okay, let's snake ourselves forward and lay on our belly again. Okay. So arms can be anywhere again. We're going to bend the left leg so that our knee and thigh is on the floor. Shift a little bit so that you can get your right leg propped up on your left foot. So it's kind of how you had to push down into your left leg just to get your right leg at all off the ground a few minutes ago. And then you prop yourself up. And notice your throat is open right now. Your chin is on the floor. You're basically looking toward the top of your mat. Okay, let that go. And try the other side. So your right knee bends and then your right thigh has to push down. Otherwise, your left leg is not going to lift off the ground at all. So this is just getting your body sort of used to this position of leg up. It's pretty awkward, huh? Okay, and let's get out of there. Find your upward facing dog on an inhale, and your downward dog for an exhale. Okay, so we'll try that whole pattern again of side plank, koundinyasana into chin stand. The piece that you're sort of missing is this back leg. In koundinyasana, I'm going to show you sort of the difference. So if I have my back leg here, see how low it is? If I jump to chaturanga from here, I can do it. It's no problem. But let's get the leg higher. Because if we get the leg higher, we can either go up or we can just have an easier transition into chaturanga. So regardless of if you go to chin stand, try to get this back leg higher. Let's see. So that's going to be a bit of an external rotation of your hip. But first, go through your little side plank situation. Miss Bailey, do you need a hairband? I don't have one to offer you. She's like holding her hair with her hand. That doesn't work. You need your hand. Make sure you do both sides, even if you don't like one side. Good. Now, Lisa, keep leaning forward. Keep lifting that leg. Good. Okay, so eventually we wind up in downward dog. And that little sequence you can just play with anytime you find yourself basically in Visvamitrasana. If you're in the Visvamitrasana bind, you can turn it into all of those things very easily. gonna jump through and have a seat. So before you jump through, remember to get your arms really straight, how you were in handstand, how you were in all those down dogs. And then bring your butt between your hands. You made it. Good. Let's go for bakasana feet. Soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Hands right now could be anywhere. We're just gonna cat-cow for a second. So chest up, shoulders down and back, and then wing your shoulder blades apart. And you can bring them together for an inhale, shoulder blades far apart for the exhale. So you're basically expanding and contracting your upper back, and just let your head and neck go along for the ride. So there's no need to be tense in your neck or try to control where your head goes. Your head will go somewhere based on where your spine is, and that is a good spot for it. Okay, we'll come through neutral. Let's bring our feet further in front so we have a diamond shape, and then bring our head to the arches of the feet. So there will be a bit of a rounding in the back. A good spot to look toward the belly button and try to do a little more Uddiyana. And let's rise up. We're going to bring the soles of the feet down and about match width, give or take, with the feet. We'll fold forward in the inside. So I get stuck at some point. So the way to get unstuck that I've found is open the knees out, then fold forward, and then bring the knees in again. And when you bring the knees in again, you basically clamp them onto a part of your shoulder or your arm where it couldn't reach before. Because if I keep my knees in and I fold, my knees are like on my triceps. If I do the whole knees out, fold, and then clamp in, now they're on my shoulders. So it's a deeper stretch. Again, you have to do Uddiyana or your back is going to feel a little bit maybe too stretched. You have to control your stretch so that you don't dummy yourself when you are not intended to be dummy. Okay, let's release and find pigeon on the right leg, upward face. Which basically just means we have to work the leg block. Your hands could be anywhere. After your chin stands, this kind of a backbend is probably okay. It's basically the same shape, just rotated. You could play with lifting your hands and just see, are you going to fall onto your right hip if your hands are up? Hopefully the answer is no. Okay, let's get out of there and just change sides. Pigeon left leg. So we're heading toward Tittibhasana, just so you know. It is an arm balance. There's a lot of other things too. Probably today we're only going to do A. B, C, D are really gnarly. E is the same as A. But it's great fun. So let's step back to chaturanga. We'll meet up in downward dog. One of the great things about Tittibhasana is the way that you have to push your shoulders into your legs. It's basically the same thing you had to do in your Visvamitrasana bind and in your side plank when you had your leg clamped around your arm. So let's bring our feet forward so they're just behind the wrists, and let's squat. We're just going to try to build our pose from here. Before we go into it, let's turn our knuckles in, fingers down. so that your wrists get a little break. So while you're here, I will show you the difference between a solid Tittibhasana and a getting away with it Tittibhasana. If I have my hands behind and my knees by my elbows, I can do it. My knees are by my elbows, but it feels like I'm about to slide down onto my flat. So the first thing we really want to do is get our shoulders under our knees. And remember, you did that here when you went out to airplane wings. So essentially it's that, but with two legs at once. Two airplane wings on two legs. And now my knees are by my shoulders so that I don't feel like I'm about to slide. So let's give that a try. So we'll come out of the squat like maybe halfway, so your butt is just a bit above your knees. Lift one heel and try to get that shoulder under that knee. Then put that heel down again and deal with the other leg. Heel up, shoulder under the knee. You might have to bring your knee out to the side a little bit, the way you did in your fold when we were on our butt. And I said you have to kind of go out to then reclamp. Then the hands come behind the feet. We shift the weight into the hands and our thighs press against our arms as our legs lift up. So give it a try, and then we'll just meet on our butts again whenever you feel like you need a rest. So a note that's pretty good, you have a little bend in your elbows, which is fine here. It will work out. But when you go to handstand, it will not be fine. Just saying, because I know handstand is something that you want. So I just want you to be thinking about it kind of throughout your whole practice. So when you are done with that round, we're going to meet in pigeon again. And again, an upward facing pigeon, because what you just did was a really deep forward bend. Now we're just going to counter it with this pigeon. If you wanted, you could add your back leg in some way. I think I'm going to add it in a bakasana grip, but by no means you have to do that. I just want you to feel that your back is not going to be stuck in your Tittibhasana. Because that is anytime you have one shoulder under the knee, it's steep, but having two is pretty ridiculous. Okay, let's release that, try the other side. Sometimes when I practice, I say to Mike, look at this ridiculous shit they want us to do in this Ashtanga series. And he says, yep, pretty dumb. We do that every day. So make sure that if your hand or hands are off the ground, that you're not falling onto your left hip. Let's let that go. We'll swing that back leg around. We're just going to do a little bit of core work so that we can do Tittibhasana again, but then transition out of it in a graceful and lovely way. So let's start sitting up tall. Your feet maybe 18 inches in front of your butt. And we're just going to round ourselves and then rise up again. So it's really powered by your low belly to feel like your spine is reaching back. And then you keep that shape as you rock to your sitting bones and then sort of unravel at the top. And we'll just do that one more time in this way. Good. And let's roll that halfway back again. So we're in a C shape, and then we'll just reach the arms forward. And it should feel like, sort of like you just got punched in the gut. Now let's lift one leg up. We'll just go out with the leg and back a little bit with the spine and then come in again. And keep that C shape as you go in and out. We'll just do 3 on each side. That was already 2. No last. We'll lower that right foot. We'll lift the left. And we'll do 3 on this side. But don't lose your C shape. If you need to hold your legs to help you keep it, by all means, hold your legs. Because when you go to bakasana, it's a rounded shape. We'll put that left foot down again, And let's just rise up, keep the seat until we're at the top. Oh, okay. Let's do one more time that feet out, mats width business, so that you can feel the clamping of your legs on your arms. This is not really a pose. This is just helpful for Tittibhasana. So the arms will come inside, see where it lands, and then see if you can figure out a way that works for you to get your knees a little closer to the shoulder. It might be wiggling right to left a little bit, dealing with one arm at a time. And the throat is open here. So we're not dropping the head. We're not looking at our crotch or our belly. Just look forward a bit towards your thumbs. Okay, let's get out of there and do that. So the transition from Tittibhasana to bakasana is pretty much just the core situation of lifting your hips up higher. I got to move my computer out of the way a little bit, and then we can do it. So you can either bring your feet behind your hands, like we did, or jump your feet in front of your hands. Either way, we're going to enter Tittibhasana, and we can get into it however it works for you. Really, that shoulder and inner knee situation is what we're going for. And let's meet in Tittibhasana. Good. And the legs are just as straight as you can get them, no problem. So now we're going to push our thighs into our arms, try to get our butt up so we can bend our knees. And then we'll fling our feet back for chaturanga. Good. So that bakasana is not that pretty, but it's a transitional bakasana. So it's fine as is. Okay. So we're going to rest in down dog B, and then we're going to try it again. And Miss Anouk, your legs are a little bit wide, and that's probably because your shoulder is not far enough under your knee. Start with your feet closer in. Feet only start about 18 inches apart. And then they'll stay pretty close as they extend. So it's not any kind of wide V shape. It's very narrow pose. Look forward more, Anouk. There's nothing to see back there. Yes. Here we go. Okay. I'm such a pain in the ass, I know. So down dog B if you're not already there. We are going to have one more time to try that Tittibhasana transition because repetition is really the best way. We will do one more pose before we go to it again, just so that maybe your torso to leg relationship improves. It makes everything easier. Okay, we'll re-straighten the arms. We'll jump through and have a seat. And we'll go for Visvamitrasana A, which is one of my favorite poses. It basically preps you for like the second half of second series. So the right heel is close to your butt, 5 inches or so between your foot and your left thigh. Reach forward as far as you can. And this is the same idea of how do you get a deep Tittibhasana. If I'm up here and I try to wrap, my armpit is close to my knee. So it's not going to be that deep. It's going to be a bit precarious. So I want to lean, get low, and try to wrap low on the shin bone. So my armpit is lower, and now my bind is very secure. Basically, it can't go anywhere unless I actively let go of my grip. There will be no slippage. If these binds are challenging for you, incorporate them into a lot of your poses because they do get easier. Okay, let's unravel and change sides. And one of my shoulder issues when I was talking to an orthopedic surgeon guy, he was like, "Oh, that's so awesome that you do that." Do that every day. So notice the difference between the quality of your bind if you're high up, and then try to go lower. And notice going lower might require you to open your knee, then come low, and then clamp in again. So give yourself that pass. Do it that way. Okay. And let's rise up. And either vinyasa or just squat, either way. We are going to practice one more thing before we go to our Tittibhasana transition. And that is going to be the bakasana with straight arms versus bent arms. So we'll just have our feet maybe 18 inches behind our hands. And by straight arms, I just mean straighter. So you'll notice here, my back is pretty rounded. Now I'm going to bend my elbows deep and flatten my back. And then I'll try again to straighten my arms and lift my spine up. And then I'll bend my arms and flatten my spine down. So just go back and forth between those two places. The gaze is going to stay forward. That doesn't change. But you're really going to feel how you have to squeeze your legs into your arms, because otherwise your legs will slide down. If you're wearing shorts and you're sweaty, you have to work harder. I'm not going to lie. That is one of the main reasons that I wear pants in yoga, because I am too lazy to do the work with sweaty legs on sweaty arms. But so this is a lot about your spine, and it's a lot about leaning forward. So those of you who have trouble going from headstand into bakasana, this is an exercise for you. Okay, so your choice. Do you do Tittibhasana to bakasana again? Do you try bakasana and headstands? It's sort of all the same concept of where's your butt, where's your elbow in relation to your wrist, and what is your choreography. So I'm going to do the Tittibhasana one again. I'm going to be watching you also, so let's see what you choose. If you are going Tittibhasana, look at how wide my feet are when I go into it. They're not really more than this. And they're going to stay reaching this way. They're not going off to the side. Life will be easier then. Plus, your house is small, so you gotta stay contained. Miss Carol, you better keep your feet up off that ground when you find your arm balance. Look forward. Pull yourself forward. Pull, 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 pull. You didn't fight it, girl. You gotta fight. Do it again. Do it right the first time so you don't have to do it again. And when you're done with whatever you're working on, we're going to meet in down dog B again. And look, that's better. Your butt has to stay higher. Heels in, Miss Carol. Heels toward your butt. Look forward. Heels up, heels up. Okay. And after all that, down dog B is so peaceful. Okay, so just working the shoulders a little bit here. We're going to just alternate our feet on a little inversion. So we'll step one foot in. We'll lift up with the other. We'll try to kick very minimally so that we can just change legs in the air, come down, and then try the other side. And there will be some degree of a push with the bottom foot and some degree of a kick with the top foot. We're just going to try to make it as small as possible. Okay, let's rest for a moment. into Virasana, and we'll rest on our backs in Utthita, which is the most horrible rest that I can give you. So as we're here in Utthita, we're going to try to think of pushing into the feet so hard that our butt lifts a millimeter off the floor. So I could slide like a little flyer for something like underneath your butt. I'm trying to think of what comes in the mail that's hard paper. Because if it's soft paper, it will crumble. A little piece of cardboard just to fit under your butt. Pubic bone is rising up. Okay, let's start to lift ourselves to regular Virasana. And let's again head to down dog B. This time we're going to try it with straighter legs. So I saw a lot of bent legs in our previous version. So even if it has to be like this, where I don't get all the way up, the leg that's down is going to be bent while it pushes, but then it will be straight. So it's only bent for the rebound. It will catch me, and then it will push me. Otherwise, we'll try to keep the legs straight. Yeah, and your reflex will allow it to bend when it catches you, and automatically it can push you. And try to have it so that your rebound and your push is right away, so there's no pause. Because if you pause, you might get real comfortable. This is a brain teaser, I can see. There's a lot of pausing going on. And since I mentioned it, there is no less pausing going on. Okay, let's come on to our backs. And I'm just putting this shirt down because I have a slippery son of a gun. All right, so we're not going to do a normal Tittibhasana. Let's just press our spine into the floor and start to peel ourselves up, starting at the tailbone. So we feel the tailbone lift, the low back lift, then the mid back lift, and we'll stop at a point where we have a straight line from shoulders to knees. We'll just breathe here for a moment. You'll feel your butt work and your hamstrings work. So from here, we're going to keep everything very still, except we'll drop the right knee out to the right a little bit. We'll come onto the edge of the right foot, and then we'll bring it in again. And then we'll do the same thing on the left, to the edge of the foot, and we'll bring it in again. Do that at your pace. The catch is, do not let your hip drop just because that knee went out to the side. So if your right knee is going out to the side, you have to work much harder to keep your right hip up. I like to put the hands on the hip bones just to ensure I know where the hip is, because otherwise I don't even know what's happening there. But now you're going to feel your glutes and hamstrings work like 1,000 times more to keep you afloat. And your ankles have to be sturdy too, because when you're rolling that knee out, you're only on the nice edge of the foot. At no point is your ankle bone on the ground. Sort of the same strength you need in a side plank on that bottom foot. Okay. The next time that you're returning from your left knee, feet out to the side, we'll just pause with both feet down, both knees reaching forward. And let's start to roll ourselves down one vertebra at a time. So you should feel like your hamstrings just work like mad. Very tiring, but satisfying. Okay, so now either Setu Bandha with your hands interlaced under you, or Visvamitrasana with your hands by your shoulders. I'm just spinning around so that I can see you when I am upside down. Hips up a little higher. let's lower down very slowly. If you're in Erdley, land on your shoulders first, so there's nothing weird in your neck. There should be no rolling on the neck. Okay, feel free to repeat that, or we're going to return to that little pinch it thing, because I'm going to show you what I want from you so that you may do it. Because I know you can do it, it's just a matter of making it happen. So our breath pattern is going to be inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down. So there's no pause, there's no hesitation, just smooth. If you need to do that from headstand, feel free. I would recommend doing it from the headstand where your palms are flat. This is Vasisthasana C. That will train your shoulders to be a little bit more flexible and strong at the same time. Because doing it from pincha is very hard. Carol, no bouncing. Now up. You think I can't see this bounce, girl? I see it.
Rachel, stop picking on me.
This is why you pay me, so that you can improve. And I can't pick on Carolyn because she's not even on her damn mat. She left the damn room. There she is. She's
Damn it, I was on my other mat against the wall.
Ah, okay. All right. So let us meet on our bellies. We're going to attempt a shoulder stretch that is physically no problem, but getting into it is sometimes confusing for people. So we'll lay on our bellies, and we're just going to bend our right knee and
But
hold
keep
up
picking on Carol. Keep picking on Carol because that's funny.
She's getting mad, but okay. We're going to reach left hand to right ankle. And I wouldn't have to pick on her because everybody told her. Right hand is then going to slide underneath the left arm, basically like gliding along your butt. Then you're going to reach for your left ankle with your right hand. So your wrists are crossed. Your feet are not crossed. The inner edge of your right foot touches the inner edge of your left foot. Yes. So getting the grip is okay, but Miss Carolyn, you see how your ankles are crossed. Don't cross your ankles, cross your wrists. So make sure that foot is touching foot. Then start to kick and try to get your thighs off the floor. And this is another one of those moments where I feel like they're really high. And then I can see on the screen that they're like an inch up. Chest open, throat open. And then let's come on down. And we're going to try the other side. So you don't even really have to let go of your left leg. Keep your right hand on your left leg. Just let go with your left hand. And then slide your left arm under your right arm so that you can get your grip now with the arms switched. And then we kick. And if it's too much to figure out this cross, just go for regular Danyarasa. But this cross gives you a little extra oomph in the pectoral muscles and in the shoulders. Good. And let's come on down. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale, upward facing. And exhale, downward facing. So I'm going to turn you loose for like 2 minutes to do a back bend or a few back bends of your choosing. We have done quite a lot, but kind of spread out. Remember back like an hour ago, we did chin stand? We did all the preps for chin stand. Feel free to do those, or pincha, or a back bend from your back. I'm gonna attempt capo just because it's Friday. And I'm alive. Good. A nook. Now make sure you do both sides of the nook and then try it with both legs because why not? Let's just meet in downward dog whenever you're done. Backbends are, of course, about flexibility of spine, but they're also strength of your back, flexibility of your shoulders, of your chest, of your quads, things about your blood pressure involved. So it just takes a lot of practice. Let's walk the feet forward toward the hands. And let's just hold opposite elbows and dangle. You might want to shake out your head and neck. And start to bend the knees. You'll notice this moment where your knees and armpits are basically touching. Let's keep that and squat. So you're just in this tiny little ball. Let's come down to our butt. Lower down to your back. For shoulder stand, take out any ponytail or bun situation. If you're not coming into shoulder stand, go for legs up the wall kind of situation. Let's press the back of the head gently into the floor so your chin is not glued to your chest. There's some space there. And let's either lotus up the legs or just cross the legs. So we're skipping halasana. We're going to keep trying to press the back of the head gently into the floor, but we're going to shift our attention more to the shoulders and put our hands on the inside of our knees. The more you straighten the arms here, the more you're going to feel the head of the arm bone push into the floor. It is very tough, but the toughest part is really mula bandha. So you've got to work through our pelvic floor in order to keep your butt up in the air. Really, you could do this if you had no arms. Your butt would stay there, your knees would stay there. Let's start to bring the knees toward the shoulders. Wrap your arms around your legs. Maybe interlace your fingers. Let's place the arms down, palms flat on the mat. Roll down very slowly. Keep your knees pretty close to your body. As you roll, it'll give you more control. Now, once you get your back and butt to the floor, start to lift your chest, your chin. You come to the crown of your head. Prop up on the elbows. If you're in lotus, hold your feet. If you're not in lotus, you can just stay propped up on the elbows. Pretend there's a little string pulling your chest up. There's not really a lot of weight bearing down on the head. There's some, but it should not hurt your neck. And let's extend the legs out, either on the ground or 45 degrees up. Reach with the feet, reach with the hands, chest up, throat open, and then release. lower to your back, and just bring your knees into your chest. Let's drop the knees to the left. Hold on to the right foot with the left hand and kick. Gaze out to your right hand, twist. And we'll come through center, one leg at a time, over to the other side. Super easy, just a heavy limb situation. Gazing to the left is going to help you get your left shoulder down. If you've ever seen someone who's doing yoga try to do this, you won't take what you can do for granted. Feels easy to you, but didn't start out easy. Getting that shoulder down is actually quite something. Let's unravel, bring the knees in, and just rock and roll or somehow sit up. You could crawl yourself to sitting. You can arrange your legs any which way. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the head, and we'll let the elbows drop in and down so that essentially we're stretching the back of the neck and the upper back, but don't let your whole back round. So it's a similar situation as your shoulder stand, where you have to keep your spine pretty straight. It's going to be more effective stretch for your upper back. If you otherwise just collapse, you're just going to feel it through your whole spine. We want to direct it. And you, of course, decide how much weight do you put in your arms. Okay, we'll lift the head up, and then we'll go the opposite way. We're going to push the head into the hands so that the chin lifts. Reach up to the elbows, just to counter stretch you. Come through center, release the hands. We'll bring the left hand over to the right ear, and this little side neck stretch. You could have your right fingertips down or the whole palm. If that's too easy, you could sit on your hand. Sometimes people like that. It makes that right side of the neck. Ooh, it's so hard. Sitting on a hand is not nice for me. But I'll keep doing it. But it feels not nice in a productive way. Okay, switch sides. Right hand over to the left ear. Decide how much weight you have. Decide what your left hand is doing, but try not to lean over to the side. Only the head goes. Let that go. Hands to the knees, just 3 little cat-cows. And this time, you don't even have to think about the head and neck. Just let it go with the rest of your spine. And this is one of those basic elements of African dance too. The head is involved, but we don't have to really, we just have to let go and it will do what it wants. Okay, so we'll come back through center. We're going to lean back just a little bit so the knees rise. Hug your knees in toward you. Either stay like this and just practice getting your body into this kind of pancake shape, or put your hands on the floor and try to lift your butt up off the ground. Knees in. If you're in lotus, it's going to be easier. So if you're not in lotus, you have to think knees in. Good. And let's come on down. Do any ritual you need to get to your Shavasana. And we'll meet in Shavasana.
Start to wiggle fingers and toes. We'll bring the knees in. Rock a little bit, or however you like to rise up. And just sit for a moment, let the blood settle. You worked hard today. Namaste. You made it.
Thanks, Rachel.